Welcome to CWS Christian Writing and Speaking. I'm your host, Jackie Wilson. And today's guest is an intimacy expert, and she loves talking about improving relationships through intimacy. She is a licensed mental health Christian counselor, board certified telemental health provider, national certified counselor, Florida certified sex therapist, and a qualified clinical supervisor. She holds a bachelor's degree in business, master's and specialist degree in counseling and human systems, and a doctoral degree in counseling psychology, and has been in the field since 1997. She is also the author of the book Improving Intimacy. And in today's episode, we will talk about why intimacy is so important to the Christian church and the Christian marriage. Let's welcome to the CWS stage Dr. April Brown. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the topic because I do kind of feel like people hear the word intimacy. It's like, oh, we shouldn't talk about that as Christians. But it is something that is very important for the Christian church, the Christian marriage. And it's not always about sex. But why is this topic so important to the people?
Okay. So when I talk about intimacy, and I look at it in all aspects first. Okay. And intimacy really means being truly present. Okay. Which is important in the medical field, the psychological field, the spiritual Christian field, being truly present. So it's that intimacy of being truly present with yourself, that intimacy of being truly present with your higher power, which I call God, and that intimacy and being truly present with a person in front of you. So that's intimacy overall. And then, of course, when I say the word intimacy, everyone jumps to, of course,
Right.
the sexual intimacy. And number one, God created sex. Okay. God created sex not only, of course, to have babies and to procreate, but also for pleasure. And so it is truly important, especially in a marriage. It's because that's the place where couples can connect and be authentic themselves. But many times we don't, think about it, we don't talk about it. And intimacy, it's more than just I'm talking about sexual intimacy, it's more than just the parts. It's that emotional, that communication, that having fun together. And when I talk about intimacy, even in the sense of the sexual intimacy with couples, I look at it more like a playground, where we come together and we are just fully present and we're playing and we're having fun. And it is so great when you can also incorporate God in the mix of that. You know what I'm saying? People's like, oh my gosh, you can't incorporate God in the bedroom like that. But yes, I mean, he's present anyway in all things. Yes, yes. Yeah. But having him involved, it just makes it at another higher level.
Yeah, and the Bible talks about the two becoming one, and it is through intimacy that they do become one, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. And that whole sexual intimacy aspect, yes. And it's important because we go, 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 go. When you have that great sexual intimacy, that's a great way of releasing, which helps that body not be so stressed. Mm-hmm. It helps connect the mind. There's a thing called intellectual intimacy also, where that mind is connected also. Mm-hmm. So it's more than just body parts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the things that prevent people from having intimacy with their spouses?
Well, one common thing is sometimes time. Okay. As we get busier and busier and we have kids and we have, football practice and all these other meetings. So I know it may sound like crazy, but it's okay to schedule intimacy, to schedule time for it. We put everything else on our calendar, meetings and doctor's appointments, but you can schedule it. And I know you think if you schedule it, it's not going to be spontaneous or authentic or whatever, but you're scheduling the time. You're saying this, I'm going to make it a priority. So that's one thing. Another thing is that sometimes with intimacy, maybe we're not feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Something's happened and we're not feeling well, either party or whatever. And instead of just postponing we say no, or we say, I'm too tired, honey, whatever. Then what happens is if we say that a lot, the other person takes it as rejection.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Then they're like, oh my gosh, they don't want me. And then this thing goes like this. If for some reason you are unable to have sexual intimacy with your partner, and it's not that anything that your partner did, it's okay to say, hey, honey, I would love to. Can we reschedule to such and such? Okay. Now, on a deeper level, another thing that sometimes happens is so we all have an unconscious mind that's so much bigger. It's like huge compared to our conscious mind. Our unconscious mind remembers everything that we've seen or heard. Okay. That's one part. Then we also have a body that remembers everything that's happened to it. Sometimes when people have had trauma, whether it's psychological or, physical trauma, and intimacy is started and something gets touched or something triggers something, and then it starts to break away. You know what I'm saying? People just start to shut down. Yes, we sometimes don't know this unless we slow it down. So if you've had trauma and for some reason it's starting to affect your marriage and all that kind of stuff, definitely seek out a therapist to see, how we can move past this.
Yeah,
Because that is
absolutely.
important. Of course, as we get older, another aspect is health issues, hormonal issues, a variety of other stuff that happens. And so if for a while you realize, wow, we're not having sex, I don't have an urge, I don't know what's going on. Yes, it's okay to go talk to your doctor. Okay. It's okay to go figure out what is the reason why this is happening.
Mhm.
So sometimes it is medical reasons also.
Yeah, and you've given a lot of practical advice and just telling us some of the things to look out for. I want to propose a situation to you. I've had where women have said that, I'm supposed to be a good girl and, I'm supposed to act a certain way. How is that preventing them from moving forward with their spouse?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, mostly women. I'll just say that mostly women. When we're growing up, we're not taught about the pleasures of sex.
Mm.
We're taught, you don't do it until you're married. Don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. X, Y, Z. Okay. And then we get married, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Or, I'm not supposed to do this. You know what I'm saying? It just like, yes, yes. It just goes through a variety of things. One thing is, I hear from a lot of women that I just don't know what to do. One thing is to explore your own body. We are responsible for knowing what makes us feel good. It is not our partner's job to know our body. Just like every male's part looks different, every female part is not the same. Okay, I just want to keep that in mind. Every female part is not the same. So you have to realize what is good for you. Okay. Then the second thing, it is okay. Sometimes people think it's supposed to be a job. This is my wifely duty. Yeah, like washing the dishes, folding clothes, having sexual intimacy. No, that is not supposed to be for pleasure. That is what I mean. If you look at the Song of Solomon, how beautiful that is. Yeah, you cannot be ashamed. Some people that are ashamed comes sometimes because of the act, but sometimes it comes because people are ashamed of their own body.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? They can't even look at their own body. You got to be comfortable in your body. And it does change as women as we have kids and all this kind of stuff. It's okay. Being comfortable, loving that body of yours because it's the body that God gave you.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully
Yes.
believe in Psalm 139:14 that
Yes.
God made you this masterpiece. And so he
Yes.
knew exactly how he was putting you together.
Exactly. Exactly. And then going into it, it's a mindset too, because the biggest organ in sexual intimacy, to be honest with you, is your mind. And if you go in there thinking it's dirty, then you're not going to have a good experience.
Yeah.
But
So
if
how
you,
can we overcome some of those types of things?
some of those types of things is really educating yourself that first that God created sex. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't take much to educate yourself on that. But then it's just throughout the Bible. But then educating yourself that it's okay for pleasure. It does not mean that you're dirty or you're bad or whatever the case may be. This is a good thing for your body, for your partner. we talk about, I know most people know about Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, and physical touch is important, you know? Yeah, and seeing it as a beautiful experience. That's what God created it for.
Mhm.
And being okay with that.
Yeah. And how can the church help more with this?
I think the church can help more with this as providing support groups or providing teaching on it. You know what I'm saying? That it's not a, a duty. So young men, as they're trained, in the beginning, sometimes they feel like it's so fast. A woman's body takes at least 20 minutes to warm up. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it as a playground in the sense of enjoying that presence and being fully present, not so much focused on orgasms or whatever. Those things will happen, of course. But if you focus on being truly present there with your partner, enjoying your partner's body and your partner enjoying your body and just having fun and having that conversation. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful experience.
And I would think, as you have happy married couples who are truly intimate with one another, that that will spill over into the church and get help foster the community and help build the church. Of course, sex brings babies, but it could just bring a happier, create a happier environment within the church. Would you say that's true?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Because when you're truly intimate, you feel connected. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're not, and there's a lot of confusion or whatever, it spills over.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell when those couples are truly connected or when that household is connected.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that means families have to take time for themselves.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't say earlier that sometimes stops sexual intimacy is energy.
Because you're so busy, you expended
Yes,
so much,
yes,
and
yes,
even you
yes.
can expend so much to the church that you end up not being intimate with your partner.
Yes, yes. And I was just about to say that sometimes as women, we go, 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 go. And sometimes as men, we just go and do so many things. And there's times I was running around doing 50 million things, having no energy. And I prayed to God, and God said, I didn't tell you to do all
All
that.
right.
So sometimes I realize that even though people pull for me, I have to pray about things. I have to pray, do I, do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Because sometimes every opportunity is not meant for me to partake in because of my family. I have to, take care of the family
Yeah.
before I go out and do everything else. So it's really important and take care of the family for people who are out there that are very busy, taking care of your husband and husbands taking care of your wives.
Mm.
But sometimes we provide the best customer service outside of the household. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it needs to
We
start
have,
inside and then
yes,
flow into
yes,
the outside. Because
yes,
I
yes.
imagine if the inside is happy and if that happiness again is going to flow to the outside. So when you show up for church to worship, you're ready to perform your duties. But if
Right,
you're struggling at home, you're cranky, you have not had that intimacy, so to speak, that's also can spill over into the church and your service.
right. Because sometimes those people, you see those people who get very burnt out. You know what I'm saying? They've
Yeah.
helped out everybody outside of their house. But when they come home, the wife asks or the husband asks for one thing and they just blow up.
So you
Yeah,
got to make sure your family and particularly your significant other is a priority. God is our primary priority as Christians, but then it flows from there. And the way I look at it, the way I schedule my life is I focus on God first and my
right,
me time with him.
right,
And then I focus on anything within the household. And then I focus on things outside of the household, obligations, other duties, and stuff. That helps me create a good flow in my life. So we have to make more time, Christian women and men.
yes,
You have to
yes,
make time
definitely.
to prioritize the household and
Mm-hmm.
the people within the household. And there's one other thing. I want to go back to the very beginning of what you said. Intimacy is about being present. And I
Right.
love that definition. And so when it's the time with your partner, whether newly married or seasoned married, move the kids out the way and focus
Mm-hmm.
on one another. Being
Right, right.
present, don't answer the phone. Don't, I'm sure you have a lot more advice, but I love that whole idea of just being present, because it's not always about the sexual aspects of it. It's just about, apparently, just hearing your partner, listening to what's going on with them, and understanding if they can't go to the next level of sexual intimacy.
Right. And in being present, many times what happens is sometimes a woman's been so busy, her husband asks for sex, so she has sex, but she's not fully present. She's like, oh my gosh, when is this over? I'm thinking about my, I got work tomorrow, I get the kids there. And then she's wondering, why is this hurting?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Why doesn't this feel good? Because you've already left your body. If you're
mm,
thinking about what's working, what's in the kitchen, where the kids are, this and that, you've left your body. So if you left your body's not going to lubricate as much.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? You're not fully present.
Yeah.
And a man can feel if you're not fully present.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? It's not just the body. People are like, oh, it's just the whole. It's just, no, that's not how it works. They can feel if you're truly there. So in those cases, if you don't feel like it, don't do it. Don't just lay there, because it just makes the whole situation worse. And that can build up to a lot of resentment and that kind of stuff.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so you write about these types of things in your book, Improving Intimacy. Can you tell people a little bit more about your book?
Yeah. So it's actually a series of books called Improving Intimacy. And in those books, the first one's a really great one because it talks about what we've been talking about, improving intimacy with self, spirit, and partner, with God and everything. So, and then I also have a variety of other, because improving intimacy is not just about what happens in the bedroom. I have a book specifically on that, but it's also that everyday romance. You know what I'm saying? Being fully present with your partner, kissing, hugging your partner, flowers, going out to dinner. But then it's also improving intimacy in other aspects that we don't even think about. That intimate connection you have with your child,
Mm,
of being fully present. There's a book on that because family is critical. But then there's also a book about intimacy in the sense of having a great connection with the people you work with, getting to know the people you work with, that business aspect. And then my final one is about community. Sometimes we go throughout and we are not even aware of what's going on in our community
mhm.
and how we can truly connect and give back. And my philosophy, if we were truly present and all the times that we talk to people and we got to hear their concerns and are truly present, this world would be so much more peaceful overall. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. What
Yes.
is next for you, Dr. April?
So besides that, there's those books out there. I also do retreats to help people improve intimacy. And so one of the things I was thinking about promoting here is I do have a Christian intimacy retreat coming up in September of this year at a Christian retreat center for couples, going more specifically into the word and how we treat each other and our partner and connecting it, because many couples don't really pray together,
Mm,
and how you were to pray together. And then with prayer, one of the things, because you're going to give a recommendation, one thing besides with prayer, many people just talk to God, talk, which is great. And he knows and sees everything. But then when I ask people, what has God said back to you?
mm,
We're not really listening. And then if we are listening, we're not really sharing it with our partner. And God is not a God of confusion. He's
right.
not going to tell one partner one thing and one partner another thing. And so if you're in a marriage and you guys are struggling and don't know, for a variety of things, whether you don't know where to move, the financial thing, whatever the case may be, pray together, but also talk about what God is saying to each of you and see how that correlates to build that stronger bond together, which
Yeah.
of course does help all aspects of intimacy.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. How can people connect with you?
Okay, so it's easy. My name's Dr. April Brown, and you can just go onto my website, www.aprilbrown.com. The best way to connect with me, or you can give me a phone call at 239-565-6921. So besides retreats, we do counseling services, traditional and online, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, I love it. As we wrap up your interview today, what is the one thing you think people should take away from this interview and implement into their life today?
Okay. So if you're in a marriage and for some reason you feel like we're not connecting sexually, since this is the topic we were talking about today, number one is to talk with your partner. When you talk with your partner about it, I would say, don't say, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this. Doesn't work that way. That puts a person in defense mode. Talk about it, say, hey, honey, I miss you.
Mm,
You know, I'm just wondering where I feel like we are not connecting as much. I would love to play with you more, get to know you more. What can I do to help with that process?
I love it. CWS Honest, you have heard her. I think the biggest point to take from today's interview is the responsibility for intimacy is on you. You have to choose whether or not you want to be present. And I love what she said here at the end, that if you're feeling like you and your partner are not connecting, step up and ask, what can I do to make the situation better? What can you do to start the playground again? So, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And until next time, beautiful people, God bless.